Hi there, I'm Linda Shudlinfeld with Grief Diaries, and today we're catching up with Judy Taylor. Judy's in Australia, and in 2011, her mom left the dance floor and suffered a stroke and died. And it rocked Judy's world. And she started writing letters to her mom, and that led to first one book and then a second book. And she's got quite a social media following. Let's hear Judy's story. Take a look. Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm good, Linda. How are you this morning? Oh, I guess it's afternoon for you.
It is afternoon, and you're almost a full day ahead of us, and so it is morning for you. So good morning to you. Judy, you lost your mother suddenly in February of 2011 to a stroke, and that took your breath away. It also led you to begin writing down your thoughts about your loss, and that turned into this whole new world for you. You first published your book and in 2014, and now you just released your second one called Heart Space, and it's all about the loss of your mom. What prompted you to start writing in the first place?
What prompted me in the first place was really the shock, the whole shock of what happened. One moment I was dancing with her on the dance floor just before midnight at my husband's 60th birthday. We were having a great night, and she left the dance floor and she had a massive stroke. And what evolved after that, she was taken to hospital, and we were actually told that she had a bleed on the brain, and if they didn't operate, she wouldn't survive. But they also didn't know whether she would, even if they did. So over the evolving days, as we waited to see what happened, everyone was in shock. And for me, I just was feeling her everywhere, even though it felt like, for me, and this is my experience, I felt like my mum had already left and that she was really just being kept alive by the equipment in the hospital. So
Oh,
I
right.
went, I picked up a notepad as I was sitting there in the park opposite the hospital one day and just started writing how I was feeling. And that was the beginning of it, because I kept writing. They turned off the life support 2 weeks later, and she died 4 hours later.
And
And I found that the writing actually helped me.
therapeutic. Expressive writing is very therapeutic. And in fact, you shared your story also in the Grief Diaries book, loss of a parent. And so with your
Yes, I've
mom,
got a copy of it
there
too.
you go. Woo-hoo. And so your mom moments, did you take your writings, including your initial writing, and that's what formed mom moments? Or did the whole idea of writing evolve, and then you thought, I'm going to write a book? How did your first book come about?
Well, initially I was writing it for me. I was writing the words that came. In the uplifting times, I might make a cup of tea and go and sit in the garden, and I'd be sitting there and I could feel my mum's presence everywhere. A white butterfly, which both of us connected with, might fly by, and I'd be sitting there and having my cup of tea and chatting to her. And it felt so good that I wrote about the experience. So I'd write about that sort of experience. At other times, I just missed my mummy, and I
Yeah,
didn't care. I didn't care about any of my beliefs. I didn't care about impermanent spirituality or anything. I just wanted my mummy back. And
sure.
sometimes I was in so much pain that I actually wrote about the pain, and I found that very healing on many levels, including one time, one of the bits in my book that I wrote, I had back pain for several weeks, and I could not get rid of it. I was having chiropractic massage, and one night I sat on the couch saying, "Why can't I get rid of this pain?" And I started sobbing uncontrollably. And then I hopped into bed and picked up my paper and just wrote, "It's not fair, I want my mummy." And I just kept writing, and the back pain went.
Wow.
And I'm going,
Wow.
"Oh, I'm holding on to a lot of pain and suffering." And now I've let it go, and the pain's gone.
And it's very true that the emotional pain will manifest as physical pain in our body if we don't allow ourselves to process it. So, what is your spiritual belief?
I guess my spiritual belief is love.
Hmm.
In simplicity, I I don't know how to explain it, but I know what feels good for me, and I know when I feel that connection. And I do believe there's more beyond this world, and we can call it God, we can call it a higher source, or we can call it any of the names all the different religions call it. But in essence, it's love, and that's what
Right.
works for me.
And that helps tremendously. And so when you're in the garden with a cup of tea, and writing, and you see a butterfly, a white butterfly, that white butterfly is a connection for you and your mom. Was that something that happened before she passed?
Yes, there was an experience that happened with a friend of mine who was also a very close friend of my mum's,
Okay.
where when my mum was in the hospital, and I had a phone call with her while I was there with my mum, and as we were talking about it, she said, "Oh my God, Jude, a beautiful white butterfly just flew past just as I felt that connection with your mum." And
Beautiful.
oh, it's those moments that are so special that just touch you, and you just know. And I guess that's part of what my spirituality is too. You just know what's important. You know in your heart, and it's
So
precious.
what brings you the most comfort now? You've grown quite a large following, social media following of people who are following you because of your writing and what you post on social media. What brings you comfort when you do that? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going with the Facebook page, or with me, what keeps me going with the connection with my mum?
Well, with your social media, there must be something as you give your heart to those people, and it resonates with them, and clearly it does because you're doing very well on social media. But it must be giving you something in return. It must be something that is, comforting to you. But I'm just going to ask the question: what brings you comfort?
What brings me comfort? Oh gosh, there's so many things that bring me comfort. I guess when we're talking about the Facebook page, I share me as me, so it's the authentic me, and the happy me, and the sad me, and the things that uplift me, and the things that I feel sad about. And what I find in just being honest, and I guess for me, in some respects, I call it being the hamburger with the lot, being the whole person. Sometimes I'm happy, and sometimes I'm sad.
Right.
And for me, accepting that all those feelings are okay and actually expressing them actually helps me, but it also helps other people. And, at times, when I started the Facebook page, someone suggested, why don't you go on Facebook to share your book? And I'd never used Facebook, so it was a
Okay.
whole new experience for me.
Okay.
And some days, there's been times because what I've found is people find what I share, just like I find it comforting and supporting to write and meditate, go for walks, make cups of tea, set intentions to connect with my mum by making a cup of tea and going out on the front porch and saying, I feel like I need you at the moment. And sometimes I get, no, you don't. You know what you need to do. And for me, that's me chatting with my mum.
Okay.
So by setting that intention, so that actually brings me a lot of comfort, knowing that if I am willing to connect with her, that there's ways to connect. I guess I see it like a blind person, they can't see, so their other senses are heightened. Well, when you haven't got the physical presence of someone you love, there's all those other senses and ways that you can feel them. And it's really up to you whether you believe it, you know. Whatever works for you, it really works for me.
So
But
is
one,
that what prompted your second book that just came out, Heart Space? That connection that you still have with your mom, and you set that intention to have that connection. Is that what came? Tell us about Heart Space.
yes, Heart Space is really, and here's a copy of my beautiful new book, Heart Space Letters to My Mother. Uh, that, I guess, is the ongoing from Mum Moments, and I'll show you a copy of Mum Moments too, Journey Through Grief. What actually happened with Heart Space is that was just my continued writing from Mum Moments Journey Through Grief, but as I was writing, and continuing to write. My husband was reading some of the things I was writing and saying, oh, wow, it's amazing watching your growth and how you're continuing to stay connected with your mother and the different things that you're doing. So Heart Space Letters to My Mother was really just like I used to have a chat with her on the phone or go to a cafe. Instead, I pick up my iPad now. I have an iPad. It all started on paper and serviettes and little bits of notepads and whatever it is. And now most of my writing is typing either on my iPad or computer. But
Okay.
it was, we all have times when we're happy and flowing, and we all have times when we're sad, and particularly when you've lost someone and you're triggered by all sorts of different things. If I pick up my iPad and start writing, I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do with my life at the moment. I don't know which direction to take what I'm doing, and I just start writing. So again, it's me allowing myself to express myself. Somewhere in there, my mum always comes in, and it's beautiful. And you can say it's my mum. You can say it's that higher source, because I have a belief that beyond this world, there's so much more, and we can name it as God or a higher source.
Right, label it however.
Label
Yeah.
it. However, I say to people, whatever works for you. This works for me. It brings me so much comfort. And that's what keeps me going with the Facebook page, because I'm literally on it every day, Linda. Sometimes when we go away, a step away from it, but I share things that I've written in my book. I share inspirations that I get along the way. I was out walking the other day, and I turned in the gate, and this white butterfly just flew straight in front of me and sat on the bush there. So I took a photo of it and posted it on my Facebook page saying, my mum's with me, here's the white butterfly, and how do you connect with your loved ones? And all these people came back and saying, oh, I feel a white butterfly or a blackbird, or there's a bird that I think's from America. I can't remember the name of it, but it was just beautiful. And people saying, oh, I've been practicing some of the things you do, and I can feel my son's presence, or I can feel
Beautiful.
my dad, or I can feel my mum. Wow, that brings me comfort. I mean, I've
That's
had days when
incredible.
I can't keep this up, People, because I'm connecting with America and the UK and
Yeah.
Australia, people think I'm there on it all the time. And sometimes I feel I am too. But it's lovely to see what people get from it.
Yeah, you've become a voice for them. And I love the name of your second book, Heart Space, Letters to Mom, because it's coming from the heart. All those letters are coming from the heart. So that's a beautiful, beautiful name. Final question. What would you like people to know about your journey since losing your mom in 2011?
Wow. Look, I'm actually in a very beautiful place with my journey. I don't say that I still don't have my tough times,
Sure.
because I do miss my mum, and I mean, it's Easter, and I guess my mum, I was very close to her, and we really had a roller coaster ride in life. We got on really well some of the time, and we were real mother and daughter. In fact, in my first book I wrote, we had a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I intensely disliked what her influence on my life, and other times I loved it. So it was, a beautiful relationship. And by my writing, and by the fact that I've found a way to stay connected with her, I actually feel very, very close to her, and it uplifts me, it brings me joy, it helps me enjoy my life, and I miss her, but I don't miss her every minute of every day anymore. I don't have those feelings I had in the first year, like I'll never get over this.
Sure.
But that's why I put my writing out, because I want people to know. And, for some people, I had a lady who her mother had died 30 years ago, and she sent me a message on my Facebook page saying, I've never really grieved until I read your book. And, well,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
that's, just so important. So I have to say I'm in a good space on my journey, and I still have my hard times. And because I guess out of my entire family, my mum was the one that I really felt so close to, that you know, I really encourage people, I think, is to see if they can find ways to stay connected, to allow themselves permission to feel, to sob when you feel like sobbing, to be happy when you feel like being happy. Sometimes, I'm sitting in the room I'm sitting in at the moment, you can't see them, but there's lots of books. I've had days where I'm just sitting here and I'm just feeling like I miss my mum, and I'm drawn to a book over on the shelf. This happened very early on, and I picked up the book, and it had the most beautiful letter that my mum had written to me probably about 10 years ago,
Really?
telling me how much she loved me and how the connection is forever, and it was, she loved me unconditionally. And this was after I'd finished Mum Moments, and it was like, wow, things I'd written in my book were like the words she'd written to me 5 years earlier. So,
Amazing. Amazing.
so
Wow.
please, anyone that's watching this, put your hand on your heart and just say, I'm willing to feel your presence, without knowing how or when it's going to present. And all I can say is the more you do it, the more you practice it. For me, I've found it's really helped me, and it's helped the connection stay alive.
Oh, that's just beautiful, Jude. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And Heart Space is available on Amazon, as is Mum Moments,
Yes.
and as is the loss of a parent. Thank you for sharing your story in there about your mom, and for doing your work that you do on social media, reaching out to others that need that virtual hug. It's really beautiful what you're doing. It's a treat to chatting with you today about it. So thank you so much, Jude. I
It's
appreciate you
my
being
pleasure.
on, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Take care. Bye bye.